You might be setting yourself up for failure when you're shooting weddings if you're not thinking about the shots you're getting or if you're not going in with some sort of shot list. Now, don't get me wrong, weddings are super dynamic. They're very fluid events where you often can't film the same thing twice because it's just not how the day works. So it might be a little impractical to go in with a whole list of the exact shots you want to get. But what I've learned over the last 5 years of shooting weddings is that if I don't have an idea of the kind of shots I want to get, I'm really setting myself up again for failure. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 shots that I get at almost every single wedding that I shoot. These are shots I've come up with myself or copied from other people over time and have turned into my own variation or my own ideas. I invite you to copy them, steal them, turn them into your own as well. They've just worked really well for me and I want to share them with you. So here's the first shot that I get at almost every wedding. It's a basic shot of the bride and groom holding hands back to back. Now this is really easy to do during a time like the first look. After they get through their first look and you're doing a couple extra shots and then the photos doing a couple extra photos, just have your bride and groom turn back to back and hold hands and get a static shot for 5 to 10 seconds. This is a great shot to use for a title sequence, and it's a really creative shot that conveys love and closeness between the couple without having to show them like kissing or their first kiss or running and frolicking through the woods. Just holding hands and a shot that focuses on that grip, I think tells a good story. Okay, the second shot is one I just started doing recently. I have another reel about it. What you're going to do is during your bridal party session, you're going to have the bride stare right into your camera, right into the lens, just like this, with a serious face. She's not going to smile, no eyebrows up. Think Vogue, just right into the lens. And in the background, you're going to stage the bridal party in 2 groups to her left and right. And they're going to be talking, laughing, having fun, checking out each other's flowers. Maybe one is like, putting her flowers in another girl's face playfully, checking out each other's dresses, twirling, just, having a great time behind the bride while she's having this really Vogue expression into the camera. Do the same thing with the guys. The guys are talking, palling around, but the groom is stood in front of them, staring right into the camera with a serious look as well. Again, this is great for a trailer or an opening sequence that introduces the bridal party, bride, groom, etc. It's a shot I do all the time now. I love it. People seem to love it, so I encourage you to try it out as well. The third shot's really simple. It's called a drive-by. Again, when you're filming your bridal party, you have them in a straight line, the bride and groom in the middle, and you start at the left side and you're going to end at the right side. And you really have to coach the bridal party into this one. Basically, if they're near the outside of the line, they're going to be looking right into the camera lens, all hyped up, cheering right into the camera like they're super excited, like they're at their favorite sports game. If they're in the middle, right around the bride and groom, they're going to be pointing at the bride and groom, holding their hands up behind them, getting super excited, and the bride and groom are kissing. You're going to run from left to right, focusing on the people. When you get near the bride and groom, I'll usually kind of pan and try to focus on them for a little bit longer and then go back to the bridal party and end at the right side of the line. Sometimes I have to do it a couple times. I shoot it handheld. I like the handheld feel of it with the shakiness. Sometimes I'll stabilize it, but it's a great shot to add to your repertoire. Shot number 4 isn't exactly a specific shot. It's more of an idea that I keep in the back of my head as I'm shooting weddings, and that is to think about interesting perspectives, different ways you can capture and tell and show what's going on. There are so many different options you can do for this, and you kind of have to play to the venue, play to where you're at and what you have available at your disposal. But it's something to just keep in the back of your mind that I took from Vince Gilligan. He's the director and writer of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, 2 shows that I love. They're on Netflix, both because they're very well written, the acting is very good, but the cinematography in these shows is really inspiring to me. They really focus on showing and not just telling. They have very well thought out static shots that are able to communicate a lot without a ton of camera movement and without a lot of action going on in the frame. So for shot number 4, again, think about telling the same story from different perspectives. This is something you can practice really easily at home with an inanimate object or a pet or a friend or a spouse or anybody. There are a ton of different ways you can convey something, whatever that action is. And when I'm shooting a wedding, I don't want to be so locked into what I'm shooting that I forget to think about perspective, that I forget to think about how can I tell this differently? How can I show this better? How can I convey whatever enduring value is being communicated in this frame and in this entire video in a unique way to myself? Okay, number 5 is one that I definitely do at every wedding. It's a trucking shot, so I'm moving left to right with my subject at the front of the ceremony. Again, I'm moving left to right, and I'm shooting on a Sony 24-70 most of the time at a wedding. That's what I have on my camera right now. So I zoom all the way into 70 millimeters, and I focus on my subject, the bride and groom, up at the front of the ceremony, and I use the crowd's heads as a foreground, an out of focus foreground. And as you move left to right, it creates a really cool effect, that trucking effect. Again, this is a great shot to do. I can fill time with it. It makes a small crowd feel bigger. It, again, keeps the focus on the bride and groom, but gets some of the ceremony details in focus as well. Again, I do this shot at almost every wedding these days. And one bonus shot, I've been doing this lately. When the bride and groom kiss, instead of just standing there filming a standard shot and that I'll then later, crop in or add some movement in post, I recently did a video on manual focus and autofocus. You can go check that out on my page. Right before they kiss, I will switch to manual focus, blur my image, and then as they're kissing, I will rack focus to bring them into focus. This is something you have to practice because, again, if you miss this, if you don't nail the focus, you miss the first kiss. Now, I always have a second, sometimes a third camera running, so I'll still have the first kiss. But in the instance that you do miss the first kiss, there's nothing wrong with going to your bride and groom during the portrait session and saying, hey, I didn't get the shot I wanted for the first kiss. Do you guys mind if we recreate it real quick? Then later in post, you work that in however you need to, and no harm done. And honestly, it's better to be up front and tell them, hey, I missed the shot. Can we do this again really quick? 99% of the time, the bride and groom, they want that shot. So they're gonna say, absolutely, let's do that really fast. And it's only gonna take 30 seconds, 60 seconds to get that shot again. So I don't personally worry too much about missing it, but that's also because I practice this shot a ton. You can practice it at home, again, on inanimate objects, pets, spouses, anything really. Just practice blurring your image and then racking something into focus. I always use some kind of focus peaking when I do this shot, whether it's in body or on my monitor, just so I know that my focus is landing in the right spot. And because a lot of times right before the first kiss, you're kind of sitting right in the middle of the aisle waiting for it, you can practice it a couple of times during that dead time. You can make sure, okay, I know I'm here, I know my subject's there, let's practice just whatever that motion is, however long the focus throw is on your lens to get to that spot. You can run it a couple times while you're waiting for them to announce the first kiss so that you have a couple reps in when it's time to actually get the shot. By the way, all this B-roll again is from the same wedding I just shot last weekend in Venice, Florida, and I'm using my wedding cinema LUT. It's a S-Log3 to Rec 709 LUT that is really balanced and prioritizes skin tones. It's on my website. It's also in the link in the description as well. It's like $9. If you like how the footage looked, you can go pick that up today. But other than that, that's 6 shots that I do at basically every wedding that I shoot. Feel free to take these and run with them, make them your own, tell people that you came up with them yourself. Doesn't really bother me. I think these are amazing shots that are going to make everybody's wedding videos better. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to me, please, to support me. It's free and it helps me a lot, and I will see you in the next video.